Right. Okay. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavidyan Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Very good. This is working okay. Sound seems a little low. Om, Om. Can you hear me okay? All right. All right. Good. Welcome to you all. This is just the second meeting of our advanced meditation session. It gives us an opportunity to examine and learn some of the more actually, they're very important techniques that directly support our study of Advaita Vedanta, our process of self-inquiry. Our beginning point today is a very important beginning point, something fundamental that I think we don't talk about enough, and that is, you've already heard me say that if you come here to study Vedanta, you're wasting your time. You've heard me say that several times, right? Hopefully you remember why I said that. I said that because if you only gain the information that's imparted, you're wasting your time. The information that's imparted during the teaching of Vedanta is virtually useless. I'm not being facetious. You may remember me describing how the teachings of Vedanta are to support your process of self-inquiry. Vedanta is self-inquiry. We require these teachings to guide that process of self-inquiry, and we use words to guide that process of self-inquiry, but we use words not to impart information. We use words like, remember, go here, go there, don't go there, go here. This idea, if it's a process of self-inquiry, we need some guidance. And you may have heard me use the metaphor of a roadmap. Vedanta is more like a roadmap than a book. A book has lots of information. A roadmap also has lots of information. But the purpose of the roadmap is not to convey information. It's to guide you to a destination. And I think that's an accurate distinction to be made. So, the focus of our discussion to introduce our meditation today is how Vedanta uses words to guide that process of self-inquiry. The technical term you may not be familiar with, they call the use of words in Vedanta is called lakshana, which means instead of using the literal main meaning of the word, rather words are used as pointers. Words point you to a truth. Now, the joke that's made about this for so long is teachers use pointers all the time. The old joke is the teacher points at the moon, tells his student to look at the moon. Look at the moon. What do you say? Chandra dekho. So look at the moon, and the disciple looks at his hand. So the hand is a pointer. And the guru holds it up in a very obvious way, but notice if the shishya's attention is in the wrong place, then it's all lost. This pointer is like words like sat-cit-ananda. So when the guru says sat-cit-ananda, and you say, yeah, sat-cit-ananda, that's like looking at the hand, right? That is. Yeah, sat-cit-ananda. Better yet, write it down. By the way, there's nothing wrong with taking notes. As a young student, I took lots of notes. That's not the point here. So the point is failure to use words as a pointer to a truth to be discovered. And that's what we want to discuss. We don't want to get stuck. Let me put it like this. Word has a meaning, and the meaning points to something. So the word has a meaning, and through that meaning it points. The problem we often have in Vedanta is we get stuck in that second step. We hear the word, we understand the meaning, but we don't go in a direction it's pointing. And I want to explain how we can learn to do that, and then we will do that in the meditation that will begin briefly. Let's take a couple of familiar words that generally we don't use words as pointers, but we can. Suppose I say the word happiness, but I ask you to use the word happiness in a Vedantic way, which means you have the word, you have the meaning, you know what happiness means. What is it pointing to? Isn't it pointing to a feeling? A feeling of happiness? The feeling of happiness is very different than the meaning of the word happiness. So is it possible for you to hear the word happiness, to understand the meaning of happiness, and to use that word as a pointer to the experience of happiness? How would you do that? I think if I ask you to use that word to feel happy, how would you do that? The easiest way to do that is to remember a happy event, a happy situation, remember someone who makes you happy, and in that way you would get to the feeling of happiness. Notice that's the third step. First comes the word, second is the meaning, and the third is an experience of happiness. Take another word just for example, tenderness. Same thing. You have the word tenderness, you know what tenderness means, but if I ask you to use that word as a pointer to actually feel tenderness, again, you might use, picture someone or some situation, remember something. That would be an aid. And you'd probably need to use some kind of aid like that, because you may not feel particularly tender right here at the moment. There's nothing much in this experience to evoke that feeling of tenderness. But now this is an example using ordinary words. Vedanta doesn't use ordinary words. We use words loaded with so much meaning, which can very powerfully point, and I'm going to make an extremely important point here in just a moment, so please follow with me. When we use words like sat-cit-ananda, so you get the word sat. Sat means existence, and it's pointing to what? Now, this is where it gets really tricky. I guess I'm now presuming that not only you know how to meditate, I'm going to assume that you have listened to these teachings of Vedanta to some extent, since here at our Arsha Bodha Center, meditation for us is integral to our spiritual practice of Advaita Vedanta. So this is not meditation separate from Vedanta, it's meditation as part of our Vedantic process of self-inquiry. So, back to that word sat. So the word sat leads to a meaning of sat, which is pure existence. Now that is going to point, it's going to point to what? And I hope you won't make the mistake of saying experience. And many people will. You can have an experience of, You can have an experience of happiness. Fine. You can have an experience of tenderness. Fine. Does it make sense to have an experience of existence? Especially when you understand that sat-cit-ananda is not talking about something that you can experience. It's describing you, your true nature, atma. And atma is not something you experience. In fact, isn't atma the experiencer? Right? So if atma is the experiencer, sat, which is used to describe the experiencer, cannot be experienced. And if you thought, oh yeah, I have to experience it, just include yourself with most people who don't really understand Vedanta properly. This is a common mistake, and if it's not clear to you, I hope you'll attend more of our Vedanta classes. It will become clear to you that sat-cit-ananda is not something to be experienced. Then what are we pointing to? Now, and here's where my example, pretty weak example, I think, of things like happiness and tenderness is very different than these words sat-cit-ananda. Because happiness and tenderness are something you may or may not have, right? Sat-cit-ananda is who you are. So you can't be without sat-cit-ananda. It's describing your true nature. It's always present as your true self. You don't have to get it. You don't have to find it. You don't have to evoke it. It's already here, now, available for appreciation. Notice I didn't say experience. It's available to appreciate. To appreciate means, appreciate is a very subtle word. It's not used much in this Vedantic context. To appreciate, actually we're going to end up using it as a metaphor to contemplate on it. To appreciate your nature as sat-cit-ananda atma is to contemplate on your true nature as sat-cit-ananda atma. Let me explain what that means. When the word sat comes, it has the meaning, pure existence. It's pointing then to a contemplation of the fact that I exist. Notice that I exist is a present truth. It's a present reality, an already existent truth, a reality, but a reality that who walks around thinking, oh, I exist. It's something we don't think about. It's not a necessary fact that you have to exist. You might not have existed. If your parents never met, you would not have existed. So we naturally take it for granted, but what I'm describing now is a kind of contemplation. That is, if sat means pure existence, then the appreciation or contemplation on sat means to appreciate that, yes, I am an existent being. The recognition of that truth. And we don't want to get into a long discussion of nididhyasana today, but to recognize what you already know is one of the key features of nididhyasana. We'll talk about all that another time. We won't have time tonight. To recognize what you already know for the sake of clarity, for the sake of assimilation. Okay. Same we can do with chit, consciousness. So chit, the Sanskrit word chit, means what? Consciousness or awareness. We use the word synonymously. And awareness means what? Right now, you are aware of what's happening. The awareness because of which you know what you're experiencing right now, that awareness is present as you, not something you have. It's who you are. So here's another kind of pointing. Chit points to consciousness. Consciousness points to the meaning. Consciousness points to the awareness of what's happening right now. You are observing what's happening right now. You know what's happening right now. In our meditation, we used the familiar word sakshi, a wareful witness or observer. We'll see that later. And finally, ananda, another pointer. So the word ananda means what? And here you may have a wrong meaning, because if you use the meaning bliss, you haven't been attending my classes. Because when we're talking about your true nature, as we said earlier, it's not something you can experience. It's the experiencer. So therefore, ananda in this context, elsewhere ananda can mean bliss. But when we're using ananda to describe your true self, atma, it can't mean an experiential bliss. Then what is it pointing to? It's pointing to the completeness, the fullness, the perfection, the divinity of your true nature. It's pointing to the perfect peace which remains when your mind is perfectly silent. That state of perfection. Perfect peace, perfect silence equals perfect peace. And the word ananda captures that. And now pointing to it means to appreciate it. How can you appreciate your true nature as perfect peace if you're agitated? You can't. Which is why meditation is so crucial. You have to meditate first before you can do this kind of contemplation. You have to make your mind quiet first. You don't really have to make your mind quiet to, in my examples of happiness and tenderness, you don't have to make, well, actually, you have to put your mind in a certain condition. Isn't it true? So then you put your mind in a condition of happiness or condition of tenderness using whatever technique you might like to use. So in order to use these words sat-cit-ananda, atma, as pointers, before you can make that step from meaning to what it's pointing to. By the way, I keep pointing over here. There's nothing, I should be pointing here, right? Because that's where it's pointing. It's pointing within, it's pointing to our inner self, to our true experience. And one thing that's very clear is this inner inquiry, this turning within, is effective only when our minds are calm and focused. So, what we're going to do today, in fact, most of our sessions will be structured like this. There'll be an introduction. Then when we begin the session, there'll be just plain old meditation. And when I say plain old meditation, it simply means make your mind shut up. That really is plain old meditation. Make your mind quiet. And then that prepares us for the final part of the meditation. The first part of the meditation, of our sessions, the introduction, will be different each week. The middle part, meditation, will likely be more or less the same each week. And I want to talk about that right now in just a moment. And then the last part, the contemplation, which is really what's unique about this advanced meditation session. That will be related then to the first part, to the introduction. Okay, how are we doing on time? All right, that middle part, making your mind quiet. This being an advanced meditation session, I presume you all know how to meditate. More than that, you know what kinds of meditation techniques work best for you and you know what kind of meditation techniques don't work very well for you. So what we're going to do this evening, and in most of our future sessions, we didn't do this last time, but generally I think this is effective, and that is in that middle part, when we start meditating, I will guide you through some preliminary steps like we do in our Saturday morning meditations. But then when it comes to the actual practice of meditation, I'm going to ask you to use whatever technique you personally find to be most effective. If I lead the practice I choose will be helpful for some of you and not so helpful for others. So it's crucial that you choose. So right now, you have to choose the technique you are going to employ, and you'll have 5 or 10 minutes in silence, in mostly silence, to practice that technique in the middle part of our session to prepare you for the final part. And let me be very clear. The effectiveness of the final part, the contemplation, the effectiveness of that contemplation will depend entirely on how well your mind has been prepared through your practice of meditation that precedes. So if you're not very effective in making your mind really quiet and really focused, then you're not going to find the final part very satisfying. If you are not very experienced in meditation, I highly encourage you to practice more. And I think you all know that I have a course on meditation freely available on my YouTube channel. So please, if you need help, get that practice and do that practice, so that otherwise these sessions won't really be of that much benefit to you. And I really want you, the practices we are going to take up each month are, I find, extremely helpful, extremely profound, but they do require a lot of preparation. So keep that in mind. Okay, I think we are ready to begin. Yes, we can turn off the lights and prepare ourselves to begin. All right. Okay. Very good. Don't turn that light off. Yeah, that's it. Right. Thank you. All right, let's get ready. Close your eyes, please. Sit with your backs erect. Take a deep breath. Take a moment to get settled down. We begin each meditation with a sankalpa in which we dedicate ourselves, just for these next 20 or 30 minutes, we dedicate ourselves exclusively to this meditation. It's a very brief time, so we can set aside all of our other problems and concerns in life and focus exclusively on this meditation practice. Next, a brief exercise to relax the body and concentrate the attention. Start by turning your attention to your feet. Become aware of the sense of pressure as your feet press down on the floor. Feel the firmness of the floor beneath you. Be aware of other sensations in your feet, touch of your clothing, warmth, coolness, and notice any tension in the muscles of your feet, and let go of that tension. Then your ankles and calves in the same way. Be aware of sensations, pressure, warmth, coolness, touch of your clothing. Notice any tension in your ankles and calves and let go of that tension. Now your knees and thighs in the same way. Be aware of sensations. For example, notice the weight of your hands or arms where they rest. Be aware of sensations and let go of any tension. Now, the trunk of your body. Feel the weight of your body pressing down on the seat. Feel the firmness of the seat beneath you. Let go of any tension. Your lower back and stomach together. Let go of any tension. Your upper back and chest. Notice the touch of your clothing that hangs on your body. Let go of any tension in your shoulders, in your upper arms and elbows. Let go of any tension in your forearms and wrists, in your fingers, palms, hands, right up to your fingertips. Let go of any tension. Let go of any tension in your neck, head, face, throughout your body. Now, pick whatever technique you find personally to be most effective in quieting and focusing your mind, and practice it for 10 minutes. I will mostly remain silent. I'll chant shanti. I'll chant om, I'll chant om from time to time, just to keep you alert and on track with our meditation. So begin now, performing whatever technique you find most effective in making your mind silent and one-pointed. for just 2 more minutes. Practice your technique as diligently as possible to prepare yourself for the contemplation. Now, we can begin our contemplation using the words of Vedanta to point to a truth, the truth of who you already are, an already existent truth, your true nature. We'll start with the word shanti. Shanti means peace, of course. The word shanti then points, be careful here, the word shanti points not to an experience of peace, because an experience of peace belongs to your mind, and that experience of peace comes and goes. But rather, the word shanti, peace, points to you, to your true nature. The essence of who you are is a conscious being who is by nature peaceful. See if you can appreciate that fact, that truth of who you are. Your nature as a conscious being is in and of itself peace. I'll repeat the word shanti. When you do this at home, you can use the Sanskrit word peace, Sanskrit word shanti, or English word peace, whatever is more meaningful for you. Reflect now, contemplate. Shanti. Shanti. Peace. Peace. Not a transient experience in your mind, but rather your essential nature. Shanti. shanti, peace, peace, shanti, shanti, peace, peace, shanti, shanti. Let us take another word now. Sakshi. Sakshi, observer, consciousness, the awareful witness. Right now, whatever is happening, you are aware of. You observe whatever is happening right now. You observe what is happening around you in the room. You observe what is happening within you, in your mind. This observation fundamentally is not a mental process, because you are observing the mind. Mental processes belong to the mind. You are the conscious observer. You are sakshi. Appreciate this fact, this truth of who you are. Sakshi. Sakshi. Observer. Observer. All that is happening around you and within your body and mind, all is known to you, to the observer, to the witness. Sakshi. Sakshi. Witness. Witness. You witness whatever is happening right now around you and within you. Sakshi. Sakshi. Witness. Witness. Sakshi. Next, let us take up another pointer, another word that points within you to your true self, your true nature. The sakshi, consciousness, by which you know the changing conditions around you, and by which you know the changing conditions within you, that consciousness is itself unchanging. To be sakshi, witness, is to be the unchanging awareness that reveals the changes around you and within you. You, the observer, the witness, sakshi, you are unchanging consciousness. Unchanging consciousness. In Sanskrit we use the word acala. Acala, unmoving, unchanging. You are that unchanging consciousness. Acala. Reflect now. Acala. Acala. Unchanging consciousness. Unchanging consciousness. 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 We'll take up just one more word, one more lakshana, pointer, used by Vedanta to lead your attention within, to appreciate your true self, atma, your true nature. The consciousness, the unchanging consciousness by which everything outside and inside is known, that unchanging consciousness is not somehow stuck inside your head. It's not somehow trapped within your body. It's present throughout your body, but it's not limited by the size and shape of your body. That consciousness not only fills your body, but it fills the room, it fills the sky and space to the edge of the universe and beyond. Because that consciousness has no edge or boundary. That consciousness is limitless, infinitely vast. In Sanskrit, ananta, limitless or vast. The consciousness present in your experience right this moment is in fact ananta, limitless, vast. You are that limitless consciousness. Reflect now. Ananta, ananta. Vast, limitless, ananta, ananta. Limitless, vast, ananta, ananta, vast, infinitely vast, ananta, ananta, limitless, just listen. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Om. That's it. Om. This concludes our meditation. Can turn the lights on, please. Thank you. The meditation was very important, but so was the discussion. I hope you'll keep this discussion in mind the next time you come for a class, so that we don't get stuck on the words. We go further. Not this direction, not that direction, this direction. Think of the words of Vedanta, pointers to that truth. Okay, we'll conclude with a prayer. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinaha sarve santu niramayaha sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritangamaya. Om shanti shanti shanti. Om. That's it. See you next time.